What's up? What's up? What's going on, everybody? It's Tuesday, April 30th. It's a little after 10:30 a.m. It's the last day of April. We're going into a new month. We're done with April. Bring on May. We're into earnings season. There's over 180 companies putting out earnings today. Some of the big names that are putting out after the market closed. The one that caught my eye was Apple. GE put earnings out today. Eaton puts earnings out today. There's a whole list of companies putting out earnings. And the list is just going to get bigger and bigger as the week goes on this week. As you can see, this is all the companies putting out earnings. So this is going to take volume away from small cap stocks if you're playing small caps. And just look at this list. It's just so long. It's crazy. But if you want to go through and look at this list, it's at morningstar.com. It's where I like to go to look at the earnings calendar. Let's jump into the market recap here. It's a pretty slow day in the market. There's really not much going on, as it has been the past 2 days now. One second. But one thing I want to point out, we got the VIX gapping up slightly to just over 13. I always like to keep tab of the VIX. And then all the futures were pretty much down again this morning. Same thing as yesterday. Yesterday they opened up mixed. As you can see, yesterday opens up really not up, not down, just mixed. Had a good day. The NASDAQ and the SPY both broke out to all-time new highs yesterday. It was a great day. And then today, as you can see, we gapped down in the SPY, and it's just been trickling off. We got a little morning sell-off here, and now it's just been consolidating from 293.30 to 292.90. Next up, we got the Qs. Same thing. Yesterday, we got just a 6 sell-off right there. Right after the market closed, Google put earnings out. And from what I heard, Google, I didn't read too much into it because I'm at work at the time when they put the earnings report out. But the market didn't like it. And as you can see, we got this just nasty sell down right here. And then today, gaps down, and we just had this choppiness right here. What it did set up here, though, was just a nice little descending wedge. And then it got a pop to the upside, and then just it failed quickly because it ran into resistance there and then fell off. Next up, we got the Dow Jones. Dow Jones just gets a slight gap up. This was one of the futures that was up. Futures that were up this morning was the Dow Jones, crude oil, and gold were the only ones up this morning. Quick pop to the upside and then just gave it all back and has just been consolidating. And we got the New York Stock Exchange. I really don't pay too much close attention to the New York Stock Exchange. I mainly focus on the SPY and the NASDAQ. And then real quick, the Russell 2000. Great day yesterday, and then today we're getting a pullback as it's selling down so far today. Let me just bring over the daily real quick for the Russell 2000, and then we'll jump into the stocks. So as you can see, the Russell 2000, an index for small caps, right at this resistance line up here, and it's just been getting tighter and tighter. You could put support right there, and it's just been getting tighter and tighter and tighter, forming an ascending wedge. And a big move is coming soon on this. As you can see, the 50-day and the 200-day are coming together right there. And it's looking like the 50-day is just about to cross over the 200-day, which we call, can anybody guess? What do we call it? When the 50-day crosses above the 200-day, we call it the golden cross. When the 50-day crosses below the 200-day, we call it the death cross. Hopefully you guys had a good trading day today. If not, it's best. Sometimes the best trade is no trade at all. You don't ever want to force trades in a slow market. So let's go to Tuesday here. What I do when I make my watch list, I'll have a weekly watch list, and then I'll have a watch list set up for every single day, as you can see. So I'll have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday doesn't have anything yet. And then as the day goes on, I'll just add stocks to the list. So tomorrow, whatever's gapping up pre-market or whatever has my attention, I'll just add it to a separate watch list for Wednesday by itself, just to keep things more organized. And then over the weekend, I can go back and I can see real quick, all right, Monday, this was the top one. And then I'll move on to Tuesday, and if I see anything I like, then I'll just add it to the weekly watch list. But pre-market, we just didn't have anything eye-popping that was catching my eye. The only thing that was up was RENN. And RENN didn't have any news really. It had a Form 6K here at 6:30. And all it really was the company had a vote amongst themselves really to pretty much put out more shares. You can look into it if you want. I'll bring it over real quick so we can see. But they had a vote for or vote against to put out more shares here. And it looks like majority of them voted yes. And then today, this was gapping up in a decent area. Let's pull over the daily or the intraday. But this was gapping up over $2 up to this 260 level. I had a game plan on this. If I could pull back this chart right here, you could see this big gap down right here. And the top of this gap right here is 260. So I'm telling myself, okay, this is gapping up. If this can get above 260 and possibly run up to $3, we could have a good try at a gap fill, or at least try to fill in some of this. So I wanted to see if this could at least attempt to get above 260, test $3, show that it has range, show that it has strength. But we'll zoom in on this. As soon as the market opened, look how ugly this is. 258 was the top on it right there. And then it was setting up a nice descending pattern, but then as soon as the market opened, it sold off, and then it consolidated, sold off, consolidated, sold off, consolidated, sold off hard, and then it tried. It was really slow in this area at $2. No volume, times and sales wasn't even moving, and then all of a sudden it just goes bloop and just falls off. Just a straight up turd. And that was really the only thing I had on my watch list pre-market. And then I kept looking at the scanners, looking at the screeners. Nothing was popping up. And then I'm going to show you guys something pretty awesome. Just give me a second. We'll cover this real quick. And then I also had VERB on my watch list. As we could see, the past 3 days, this has just been getting momentum. VERB, I believe, has a float of 7.5 million. So I'm looking at this $3 area because it has a potential gap fill here from $3 up to almost $6. So if this can keep getting momentum and possibly get above 3, this is a good back burner play right here. This is something you'd keep tabs on and just see how it does. The volume is a little bit light today, almost at a million. We're at 746,000 in volume. And let's look at the intraday. You could see here, no volume at all on this, all right here. And then yesterday, just from $2, gets a shot up to 240s, falls back down, grinds back up into the close with really light volume. Today gets a gap up, and then this is where the volume starts just somewhat warming up and coming in today. We can zoom in a little bit on this, but right here, it was putting in a bottom here at 240s. It did pop up to 260 up here and came back down, tested this support level, and just grinded back up, but really just light on volume so far. So like I said, I would want to wait for this. This is me as a trader wanting to wait for this to see if it can claim above $3 and volume can come into this. All right, moving on. Next up, DGLY. So DGLY had a gap up today. It gaps up. We'll zoom out on this. Gaps up to pretty much new highs at $5. Last time it was at $5 or above $5 was way back here in 2017. So this gaps up, multi-year high. So I had to keep this on my watch list. I believe DGLY has somewhat of a low float as well. No news recently. Last time it came out with news was April 8th. No volume on it the previous days. But look at this activity it was getting pre-market from just the range on it from $4.30 up to $6. I just wanted to add this to my list to see if volume would come into it and possibly get going. You could see it got a little bit of action from 460s up to 530, and then it just fell off. So we're in earnings season. We're not going to really have volume in small caps. So the only thing you can really do is just add these to your list and just keep tabs on them. See if anything ever happens with them. Alright, so let's get into the last ticker, or no, GE real quick. We'll go to GE and then we'll go into a trade I took today. So GE comes out with earnings, and everybody's been bearish on GE. Gets a nice gap up from 970s up to a high pre-market of 1080, and then just sells off. Market opens, gets a nice grind from 1015 all the way up to 1050, and then just sells back off. And then PRPO real quick, just nothing on it after yesterday. You could see volumes already left it. Look at that, just 6 sell down, 2 6 sell downs right there. Caps up pre-market and straight back down. Look at that. I did have it on my list this morning to see if it could get back above this $5 area and maybe volume can come into it. And as you can see, it came up to it once, fell down to 450, and then came right back up to $5, and now it's just been pulling back. Alright, so let's go into a trade I took today, and also this is a brand new playbook play that I just created. So we got DBD here. Now pay close attention. This came out with earnings. It has a gap down. As you can see, it's got a gap down from $12.50 to $10. Go to the intraday. You can see here the gap down on it. This thing just set up so nicely. Let me go to. All right, so it has just a sell-off here down to 930, pops back up to 1026, pulls back to 960, grinds up to $10, pulls back 975, and then gets this from 975 a pop up to 1060. I got in right at the break here of $10. I did chase it a little bit, but I'm about to explain this to you guys step by step of why I thought this was a good trade. So the occurring theme that's been happening is the pattern that's been happening over and over again was wedges. And I connected the lower highs here, and I connected the higher lows. And as you can see, this is forming a wedge right here. And DBD is in the NASDAQ exchange, and the sector it's in is technology. So let's look real quick. I want to show you guys this to show you how all the stars align and why it's important to keep track of the index and the sector that the stock you're looking at is in. So let me find it. We'll go to the Qs here first. So the Qs here was also setting up a nice wedge here, as you can see. It did break below it, but then it quickly came back up and broke to the upside. That's what I liked about it. I seen that the Qs was setting up a nice wedge right there. And then also the technology sector. Go to the sectors. If I can find it. Hold on. I have a hard time remembering what sector. XLK, that's what it is. Duh, and it says it right there. Alright, so we got the technology sector here. And what's the technology sector doing? Forming lower highs. You could draw a support line right here, as this is a descending wedge. But we got the technology sector forming a wedge, and as you can see, it broke to the upside. And we also had the Qs forming a wedge. And it broke to the upside here. And then we got the stock, DBD, forming the exact same thing. A nice wedge. And this is where all the stars align, and you just put it all together. And as you can see, from 970, this ran up to 1060. So pretty much a dollar move right there. I chased this a little bit. I got in at the break of 10 because I was a little bit late on this. I'm putting it together. got in at 10, wrote it up to, I got in at 10, sold at 10.25, and this went up an extra 25 cents. So it's a win, I'll take it, and I was able to add it to my playbook. And I highly recommend you guys doing the exact same thing. Make a playbook and document trades that you like to look for. And what I call this play is the stars align. When a stock with the same index, sector, all set up the same pattern and breaks out. Good example is DBD set up with the Qs and the technology sector XLK for a clean pattern wedge breakout. And I took a picture of all three of them, and I tagged them. So we got XLK here with a nice wedge breakout, the Qs with a nice wedge breakout above, and then the stock DBD setting up a wedge breakout to the upside. And that's what it's all about, putting it all together and just putting it together and documenting it, tag it. And I highly recommend creating a playbook. Most definitely. Go back and retweak your playbook. Always just be wanting to grow more and more as a trader, because this is a job and you gotta take this serious. But then after I took that trade, I seen there was nothing else going on in the market, and I'm just gonna walk away. It's a slow day. I don't want to force anything. I don't want to give my profits back. Walk away. We're in earnings season. Like I said, over 180 companies are putting earnings out. Let them do their thing. Apple puts earnings out after the market closes. That's going to be a big one. And we're going into a new month. So the algos are going to start changing. It's time to just get down and observe and see what's going to happen. All it's going to take is for one stock to just go on a great run to get FOMO back, and traders be like, wow, I can't believe I missed that move. I'm not going to miss the next one. And that's all it takes, and it happens all the time. After earnings season, we always have that one stock that just runs huge, 200, 300, 400%, and it just brings volume back into the small cap stocks. Until then, you just got to have patience and wait. VERB came back up to that level. We'll see what happens with it. But always just be observing and seeing what's happening in the overall market. Well, I hope you guys had a great trading day. If you guys took any trades, if you didn't take any trades, don't worry. You're not missing out on too much. It's just best to be patient sometimes. Like I say, sometimes no trades are the best trades. But that's going to be it for this recap, guys. Hopefully you guys have a great day. And alright, until next time, have that patience, have that discipline, and study, study, study. Alright, everyone. Later.